In our presentation, I'm going to first try to introduce the Turkish market, then talk a little bit about motor insurance and direct settlement system. Today representing Insurance Association of Turkey. It's the representing authority for the insurance sector to the treasury and the government bodies. In Insurance Association, we have several committees. All committee members are underwriters from the insurance companies. And we have a boarding directors. The boarding directors are the general managers and CEOs of insurance companies. So all the decisions first being discussed from the sector members, then the decisions are taken by the top managers of the insurance companies. Then the decision taken is being discussed by the association towards lobbying with the government and other representative bodies. We are also representing Turkey to several international associations. In Turkey, we have only a single reinsurance company. There are two reinsurance companies have a license, but only one of them is operating. 37 non-life and 8 life company exist. In Turkey, there isn't any balance between non-life and life companies. Almost 80 to 85% of the premium is produced by non-life companies. And in the life branch, market is mainly dominated by the bank assurance, and almost all the business, nearly 90% of the business is related to credit. But the life on the non-life business is very different. It is mainly dominated by the agencies, and agency and brokers have a more than 8% market share. Here are some figures about Turkish economy. When we see the inflation figure, it's around 7%. But when we look at the split of the insurance inflation on the motor business, spare parts inflation for the last decade every year is from 3 to 5% higher than the general inflation. Last year's motor spare part inflation is about 15%. 1 year before it was 14%. Most of the people simply say that Turkey has a potential in premium production because when we look at the figures, premium per GDP in Turkey is 1.4%. On the developing countries, it is 2.7%. Unfortunately, my answer and my comment is not so simple. As I said in my previous slide, there isn't any balance in the premium production in Turkey. The premium production on the non-life corresponds to more than 8% of the premium. If you split this premium per GDP on the non-life branch, the premium per GDP is on the higher side of the developing countries. On the non-life branch, there is a development still going on, but the presentation of the premium is almost representing the behavior of all other developing countries. And on the life branch, since it's directly related to, mainly in Turkey, to the bank assurance, we are not expecting the premium level will grow and reach the developing countries level. If you look at the number of people working in the insurance industry in Turkey, it's increasing. But if you look at the split, the headquarters of the insurance companies having less and less people each year. And the increase in the number of people is due to sales personnel and some branch offices. Mainly due to government support on the pension funds. Because of the pension fund system is supported by the government, insurance companies are investing more on their direct sales personnel for the pension funds. Here are the premium production figures for the Turkish market. As I said, our market is mainly dominated by non-life premium. The real growth rate for the last year is more than 10% in Turkey. We have already made a macroeconomic analysis via McKinsey, and it shows that it's going to slow down. And for the next decade, the growth rate is going to be between 4 to 6% if we do not take any precautions, if we do not change the rules of the game. Premium per capita is started to slow down in Turkey. And the last year, there is only $2 change. As I said, for the next decade, the premium production in the real terms will grow from 4 to 6% if we do not make any change in the system. As association, we are working on that, and we are going to implement some projects. I'm going to talk a little bit in one of them later on this presentation. With the help of these projects, we are expecting that the premium production in Turkey in real terms in US dollar will increase in about 6 to 8%. Now comes the motor part. If you look at the profitability of the Turkish market, it is directly related to profitability of the motor business. When the motor business is making profits, all the market earns money. Unfortunately, for the last 8 years, Turkish market is not making any profit from the motor business. 2013 is the only exception. This is because last year, in 2012, Turkish industry faced the biggest losses in their history. And because of that, almost all the insurance companies on the motor third-party liability increased their rates. Because of the increase in the rates, premium production in Turkey increased more than 10% in real terms. Unfortunately, first quarter results of this year is not promising. Since it's not been published yet, I'm not sharing here, but competition has started, and starting from this year, almost all the insurance companies on the MTPL started to decrease their rates, and the competition is mainly on the top 5 or top 10 companies. There is a fierce competition to be ranked first in terms of premium. So if you do not change the system, if you do not make any change in the game, in the rules of the game, starting from the third quarter of this year, insurance companies will start to see negative premium in their budget. So how can we change the system? Since there's a competition, we cannot simply expect the market make profit from the motor business. So maybe government, maybe association, maybe somebody else should intervene to change the rules of this game. We believe in direct settlement system because direct settlement system may solve this problem, may make the insurance market better for the insurance companies and for the clients and maybe for the government as well. We are working on 4 projects. One of them is direct settlement. The second one is the certification of the repair shops and certification of the spare parts, equivalent spare parts used during the repair, loss of support system, and fraud. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about these projects. For the direct settlement system, first of all, we have to analyze the country. It doesn't mean that direct settlement system is the only solution for each and every country. But if you look at the figures in Turkey, I can simply say that spare parts inflation is higher than the general inflation. It's from 3 to 5% higher than the general inflation. And because of that, body shops are earning great money, making great profits from the repair. More than 70% of their profits is generated during the repair. As insurance industry, we are paying for them. Since there isn't enough competition for the equivalent parts, they are increasing their prices more than the inflation rates. First, to establish the direct settlement system, we have to make certification system for the spare parts and certification system for the repair shops. Because on the direct settlement system, client will approach their own insurance company instead of fraudulent insurance company. If they approach to their own insurance company, then insurance company will try to control the cost by using maybe less qualitative repair shops, maybe not equivalent parts during the repair. There is a problem, I guess, with the microphone. When I approach.
I do hear you.
Okay. At the current system, insurer will approach to fault parties insurance company. In that case, if they have a motor own damage insurance, this is called kasko in Turkey, then somebody else is faulty, insurance company do not need to control the cost because at the end, they are going to subrogate and somebody else is going to pay. When we look at the figures about motor TPL and motor own damage, the average cost on the motor own damage is more than 2 times higher than the motor TPL. This shows an indication that on the motor own damage, insurance companies are not controlling the cost as they're controlling on the motor TPL. This is because for the repair or changing the parts. On the motor own damage, insurance companies are changing their parts, but they have a tendency to change parts. But on the motor TPL, the tendency is more towards the repairing the parts. If you look at these figures, I can share some of them. On the MTPL, 70% of the claims are for the repair of the parts. And this corresponds to 37% on the motor own damage. If you look at the parts used during the repair, on the motor own damage, 99% of the claims are settled by the original spare parts. This is 58% on MTPL. So there is a margin to control the cost by direct settlement system. In the direct settlement system, there is going to be a system which at the end, insurance company do not know how much they are going to get from the fault parties insurance company. Therefore, they have to control their costs. Instead of changing the parts, repair the parts. Instead of using the original parts, maybe they are going to use the equivalent parts. What's going to be the benefits of the system? Of course, the only benefit is not going to be make the insurance companies more profitable. The ultimate goal is to make a better insurance market in Turkey. Insurers will be more satisfied. At the moment, we have receiving so many complaints from the customers because of the parts used. If the clients do not have any motor own damage policy, if they are going to approach to faulty parties insurance company, then they are going to suffer. Maybe because of the service they receive, maybe because of the parts, quality of the parts used during the repair. Claims handling is going to be faster in this system. And because of that, the reserving issue for the insurance companies will be solved. When it's going to be paid faster, there is going to be less reserve, and at the end, at the bottom line, there is going to be more profits. Repair shops networks can be used. At the moment, the client first repair their car and then approach the insurance company to pay the bill. when there is going to be less conflict, when the subrogation cost is decreased, then the insurance market is going to be better for the insured, for the government, and for the insurance industry. And at the end, this system will force the insurance companies to introduce new products. A single insurance policy will maybe cover MTPL and motor home damage. Certification of spare parts and certification of the body shops is very important. As I said, 70% of their profit is through repair. So there is a margin. There is a margin, and this margin will decrease the cost for the insurance companies without need to increase the premium. The profitability will improve. If conditions are not like in Turkey, I might have some doubt moving to direct settlement system, because if the portfolio of the insurance company is biased for the luxury cars, for the trucks, etc., the system may not end as desired. So I cannot simply say that direct settlement system is the only solution. You have to investigate your own figures for your own country. Now I'm moving to another story, loss of support system. In Turkey, actuaries and governments are doing different calculations. Because of that, when there is a victim, when there is a people who died or disabled, they are approaching the court to get a different money. And at the end, insurance companies make for the court, paying for the lawyer and paying for the inflation. And this increased the cost, this increased the payment insurance companies paying. The third one is fraud. In Turkey, there isn't any centralized fraud detection system. Insurance companies are trying to detect fraud. But if there is an organized crime, it's not easy for a single insurance company to notice, because they only receive a single claim. But an organized crime can happen, and this organized crime can approach to several insurance companies, and with a centralized analytical system, we can notice and maybe decrease the claim insurance companies already paying. Thank you for your attention.